How can weak circumstantial evidence create a strong case? Imagine a puzzle with many tiny pieces. Each piece might seem insignificant on its own, but when put together, they reveal a clear picture. That's how circumstantial evidence works in court. It's indirect proof that suggests something happened without directly showing it. For example, finding a suspect's fingerprints at a crime scene doesn't prove they committed the crime, but it hints they were there. This is different from direct evidence like an eyewitness seeing the crime happen. In court, all types of evidence are looked at carefully. Whether it's direct or circumstantial, the strength depends on how reliable it is and how well it fits with other evidence. The law does not say one type is better than the other. Jurors are told to consider both and decide how much weight to give each piece. A single piece of weak circumstantial evidence by itself usually isn't enough to win a case. For example, if the only evidence is that a suspect was near the scene, that might make people suspicious but doesn't prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. However, when several weak pieces are combined, they can create a strong story. Think about a case where the prosecution shows the defendant had a motive, was seen near the crime scene, acted nervously afterward, and was found with an item linked to the crime. Each of these pieces might be weak alone, but together, they form a pattern that makes guilt more believable. The jury then connects these dots and asks if the only reasonable conclusion is that the defendant committed the crime. Judges and juries use common sense and logic to tell the difference between reasonable guesses and pure speculation. If the evidence lines up and rules out other explanations, it can be enough for a conviction, even without direct proof. Circumstantial evidence can also work in the opposite way. For example, evidence showing the defendant was somewhere else at the time of the crime can support innocence just as strongly. The key is whether the overall evidence points clearly to guilt or innocence beyond a reasonable doubt. So, even weak circumstantial evidence can build a strong case when many pieces work together. It's like assembling a puzzle where each piece might not be impressive alone but creates a complete picture when combined. The court's job is to weigh all these pieces, see how they fit, and decide what the total story tells us. This process helps ensure justice is served, even if direct evidence isn't available.